everybody, welcome to Speak Votomi. Thank you so much for joining me. If it's your first time here, you're absolutely welcome. Once again, this is a place and platform where we chat all things life. So in today's video, I wanted to chat about 5 things that I wish the younger me knew. I mean, I know I'm still young, but there are definitely things that looking back, I think I would have done differently. Or if I'm not doing them differently, I definitely am grateful for the lessons that those things have taught me. And one of those first things is that friendships are important, but they are not everything. I think for me, the younger me idolized friendship, idolized the idea of having people in your life to call your people. And I think I spent a lot of time obsessing over that and praying for that, that I could have honestly used and focused that energy everywhere else. And I'm speaking to the high school me, because literally people believe that, put so much energy in this that I feel is energy that you can be placing in something else, because later on in life, we find out the things that we stressed about then are not as important here. And I say that specifically for myself, because now that I think about it, I really obsessed over this matter to a point that, I cried a lot over friendships. I, cried a lot over heartbreaks and everything else. And I also got to a point where, I just wanted any friend rather than people that God wants to surround, me with. And I completely disregarded that. So now I know that friendships are important, but they are not everything. So if I had just learned to trust God with this area of my life, to say the right people will find me, the right people will stay, the right people will correct me, the right people, will walk by me in and out of season. And if I had just trusted God with that area of my life, I really feel that a lot of the anxiety that I faced, the younger me faced, and the lot of, looking down on myself and not feeling good enough in this area of friendship, I think a lot of that could have been avoided. So that is the first one. The next thing is that the grass is not greener on the other side. Young Gateko really needed to know that, because I compared my life a lot. I mean, I'm a PK, and because when you're young, all the negative things seem a lot bigger than they are. So because there were various aspects that I didn't like about being a PK, I magnified those things to a point where I envied other people's lives. And as I grow older, I understand and I know that, the grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where I am, because that's the grass God has placed me on. So I really, really wish that I wasn't this type of individual. But if I'm to be honest with you, I think, it's easy to point fingers at other people and say, this person is jealous of me, this person is envious of me, they want to have my life. But how many of us actually come out and say we were those people? And I'm going to be honest this morning and say, I was that person. I often found myself jealous of other people's families, jealous of other people's, possessions, lives, and so forth, constantly comparing to my own. And yes, I regret those things, but I also think God allowed me to go through all of that. Number one, so that I know and always remember that I'm not perfect, but also to help other people that are going through the same, because not many of us like to admit that we're comparing. Not many of us like to admit even that we're envious or jealous, of other people's relationships, of other people's belongings. And I think I love the fact that right now I'm able to be content in everything that God has given me. I'm able to understand that, we all run in different races, and even if we're in the same race, each and every one of us has our own lane, and God will have it be and do with my life as He pleases at the end of the day, and it doesn't have to be compared to the next person's life. So I really wish the younger me knew that, but I'm glad I know that now. The next thing is to trust God. He's got this. I think this is a lesson that I'm constantly learning now. I wish the younger me knew. A lot of you probably already by this point know my story. But literally in all of the seasons of my life, God has been faithful, God has been good. And there are many tears that I cried, and I believe that I probably would not have cried those tears if I truly and thoroughly believed God. And sometimes I only understand that I needed to believe God in retrospect when I'm out of that situation. But you know what, nonetheless, this is to even remind you to say, God, guys, trust God. Trust him with your life, trust him with your future, trust him with your vision, your plans, and ultimately it is him that is going to establish them. If he said it, he is faithful to bring it to pass. Sometimes, I'm going to be honest, I just didn't see a way or didn't understand how it was going to be, but I needed to carry that word and believe that God's got this. And I'm not saying I constantly believe in this or in every moment of my life. I am 100% set on this, but I think that's why it's a lesson that I'm constantly learning, that you know what, I need to trust God. He's got this. God told me, you know, he mentioned to me a number of times that I would be in school this year, and I didn't understand how it was happening because I kept getting rejection letter after rejection letter. I remember chatting with my brother the other day. I'm like, I've never known being rejected to every single, rejected at every single varsity that you apply to. And then God, you know, he just opens another door that you didn't think you'd even have to knock on or explore. And ultimately his plan for your life is good. So trust God. If he said it, he will do it. And number 4, one talent is still a talent. So bringing back the point of comparison, you know how some people are like triple threats? They call them triple threats, where you're a singer, dancer, actor, and all of that. And for me, sure, I can hold a note, but I'm not the greatest singer. I can't dance to save my life, even though I love doing it, and absolutely nothing in this world is going to stop me from dancing. And acting, I forget a lot of things, so I don't know how I would even be able to remember all of those lines. And I went the longest time in my life believing that I didn't have a talent, or that, you know, God didn't bless me with a gift. And then I realized that no, actually speaking is a talent. And then you start to count, you're like, how come some people get more talents than me? And even these days it's so easy, because literally just scrolling through TikTok and you realize that there's so many talented people out there, and it can literally like bring you down, or make you feel discouraged, or make you feel as though that one talent that God gave you is not enough. And I'm here to remind each and every one of you that, you know, one talent is still a talent. I'm reminded of the talent parable in the Bible, where the one man, received 5 and the other received 2 and the other one received 1. God still expected the one that received 1 talent to multiply it and to make it the best that he possibly could. God still expects of us to multiply whatever he gives us, even if he gives us 1. So I want you to look deep inside to find out what is it that God has gifted you with, no matter how big or small you think it might be, and make sure that you maximize on that talent. You owe it to yourself to be every single thing that you have been created to be. Put aside comparing your talent to what somebody else's has. Okay, maybe somebody speaks better than you. There's always going to be somebody that is better than you, whether it's dancing, singing, whatever else. But God has entrusted you with that talent. So make sure that you maximize on that and ultimately use it for his glory. Oh, how I wish the younger me knew this. But once again, I'm glad that I know this now. And last but not least, this one is a bit of a tough one. God will still prosper the people that do you dirty. And God's grace is not selective. So you know how sometimes we go through life and people hurt us along the way, and we believe that because they have done certain things that they're going to get punished, or because you lost friendships along the way and you felt that it was because that person either betrayed you or backstabbed you or whatever. So you feel like life is not going to go well for them, or good things are not going to come their way. God had to teach me that, you know what, at the end of the day, God loves me as much as he loves those individuals. We are all children of God at the end of the day, and his grace is available to every single one of us, even the people that do you dirty. So ultimately, the grace of God is not selective. So you can't think that because somebody is treating you badly, or could have treated you better, that evil is going to come that way. That's not how it works. At the end of the day, we understand and we know that we do not know or understand all of God's ways, but he is God at the end of the day, and I guess he works in mysterious ways. So I have learned to pray even for the people that have hurt me, and to ask God to help me release that hurt or release whatever it is that I have been through, and ultimately to bless them, because I understand that in doing so, it is for my own well-being and my own health, and ultimately so that I can continue, you know, to do what God has called me to do. And guys, there's so much joy that comes from forgiveness. And I guess maybe that's another thing that I wish the younger me knew, that forgiveness is not weakness. It doesn't mean that you're not upset with the next person. It doesn't mean that you or what they did was okay, but it's for me. It's not for them. It really is for me, because we can't, you know, drink poison at the end of the day and expect the next person to die. And you know, vengeance ultimately is God's, and He will do, you know, with it as He will. And sometimes it may not be a result that you want, but ultimately it is ours to continue to trust and believe that God is faithful. So yeah, those are the 5 things that I wish the younger me knew, and maybe you in your younger stage can learn from those, or even if you're older, learn from those. And I'd definitely love to hear from you. What are some things that you wish you knew when you were younger? Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a fantastic whatever day of the week it is. Mwah.